So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with, so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the developer's PDF, and we're actually going to look at the first image that we're going to, create. And this is going to be the ad creative. This is what we're going to be using as the advertisement. So what I personally like to do is to get like hero shots, ones that look really nice, that explain what the building or the tower looks like, because there are three different things that people are interested in whenever they go to invest in a property. One, obviously, is the aesthetic. How does the building look? Does it have a bunch of windows? Is it, is there no windows? Is it look aesthetic? Is it look like it's going to be easy to rent? Again, you're going to be advertising to different people and they are going to have their own kind of, specific agendas, but you want to make sure that whenever they see that advertisement, that whatever their interests are, it's going to appeal to them. So what we like to do is we like to find a couple of hero shots of the building, anything that kind of shows where it is geographically. So we're in Dubai. A lot of these buildings, they'll show kind of like the Burj Khalifa in the background or other towers that are nearby. So that way you kind of understand the geographical location. So we'll take a photo, a screenshot of that, and then we'll use that for the ad. So this one is really nice because it shows you above the clouds. We've seen this kind of style ad work before. As you noticed, it shows you like a couple of the amenities. There's like a pool, like an infinity pool there. And then above, you can see like the residence rooms. And then down below, it looks like a dining area, which is kind of nice. And then, of course, you can see in the background kind of where it is geographically located. That looks like it's close to the marina. And then, of course, that means relatively close to the beach. And that's something that could appeal to a lot of people. So we took a screenshot of that. Now we're going to open up Figma. Figma is basically a designer tool. This is something that you can use to edit your photos and quickly and easily test out different types of headlines or text that you put on the actual image. So one thing that we've already done is we've created an account, but if you go to figma.com, it's completely free. And this designer tool will allow you to, again, quickly test these headlines, these titles, and you can see kind of a couple of the examples that we have here below. So it says like invest in the exceptional tower in Dubai, where elegance meets futuristic living. And like, for example, this far left one, it says morning coffee never felt so good. That's super cool because, when you're on your balcony, you're overlooking, the Burj Al Arab in the background, and you have really nice decor because it's a designer inspired place, and you have really nice decor because it's a designer building and everything else is kind of perfectly put together. It can invoke a feeling, which is what we want. Also, I would highly recommend keeping your images or your ads to three elements. And what do I mean by three elements? I mean, you're going to have the title, you're going to have some specific information about the actual property, like the location, or maybe something about the ROI, and then maybe like the logo. So just if you have the ad too busy, when people are scrolling past it, they're going to get confused or they're not going to pay attention to everything and they might just continue to scroll on. So, don't make it too busy. We like to use the YouTube thumbnail methodology for creating these ads, and that's because there is a lot of science that has been put into how much information you can process whenever you're quickly at a glance looking at something. And having three elements is basically the safe zone for how much information you can give somebody without being overbearing. Because if the person gets confused when they're reading something or there's too much information, it's going to either be annoying or it's going to distract them or they're just not going to be able to pay attention and they'll just continue to scroll past it. So keep it to three elements, three different texts or three different logos or three different, something. And what I would actually add to that is even this photo, it has luxury living unlike before. It's got the iconic logo, which is for the iconic tower, and then you have Dubai Internet City. In my opinion, this is actually technically four elements because you have the image, which is one, and so that's the photo of the bit of the rendering in the background. Then you have the logo on the left. Then you have the kind of like the title, I guess the hook at the very top, living unlike before, and then you have Dubai Internet City and profits up to 90% after resale. So technically, we can categorize those bottom ones as like one on its own, but that's effectively like having four different elements. So three, just keep it as minimal as possible so that way people don't get confused. Okay, I think I've said enough about that. Now let's go ahead and create an ad. So this format, what we're actually doing here, it's all one by one. And that's pretty agnostic for all platforms. And when I say all platforms, I mean all device types for Facebook and Instagram. So one by one, pretty much universally will work well on all of them. And so we'll just create an ad for you in one by one. So you're going to click this little frame button in the upper left-hand corner. Again, if you're using the website version, it should look similar or just like the same. And you're going to go to the design flyout on the right-hand side at the very top. It should show you all the design and prototype sections. You're going to click on design if you have anything else there. And then you're going to scroll down to where it says social media and go to Instagram posts. Once you click on that, it's going to create a one by one. What it'll do is it'll create a one by one frame. And in that frame, you're going to be able to drop in images and then completely size them, and it won't actually show the outside of the image. So you can actually see exactly what the framing is for the photo that you're going to be posting to Instagram. So we're going to drop this photo in here, and then we'll actually show you how to add some text using the little text icon at the top. And just remember that when you're scrolling on social media, there are some safety zones you need to worry about. So the safety zones are going to be kind of at the top and the bottom of the actual image. You want to make sure that people, because obviously there's like the like and the message icons all on the right hand side, and then you have like the ad information at the top. And when people are scrolling through, usually what you'll see is that there's bars that are on the actual ad as well. So that actually takes up a little bit more real estate. One by one is relatively safe in general for Facebook, Instagram, because it's going to be 9:16 format. We're actually giving it a 1:1 format, so it should end up pretty well in the dead center of the phone, so it should be fine. But just be careful, because if you write something at the top or on the right hand side, it could get covered up by other icons. So now we're going to just click on this text icon. We're going to write just some text here that would be appealing. So hooks are really important. This is something that's going to appeal to the person who's swiping by. Whenever he sees this image, we want to convey exactly what it is. If you were to just scroll by and you were to see just like an image of two towers or all three of these towers, you don't really necessarily know exactly what it is. It's really important to let them know just within a second, like what it is that you're offering them or what it is you're trying to sell them. So, what we're going to do is we're going to cover up these other buildings so that way they understand, hey, this is the iconic tower. Whenever you first see this photo, you see the other, three buildings here. You see two to the right, and then you see one on the left, and then you see like this yacht thing at the bottom or whatever that is. I'm not too sure, but it's a little distracting and you don't actually understand exactly what it is you're trying to sell. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a rectangle using this rectangle tool in the top bar. Now we're clicking and dragging over the other towers, and we're going to drop the fill to 1%. Now that it's 1%, the box is still there. We're going to go to effects and add a blur, background blur. Okay. Once you add this background blur, we're going to change it to 20, and this will actually blur out everything else that is behind that particular square. So now if you look at this photo, you see just pretty much these two towers on the left. Now we're going to copy and paste this box over to the left, and immediately it becomes very distinct what you're trying to show the audience, right? You're trying to show them this mirrored tower. So luxury living unlike before. Initially, when you first saw this ad, luxury living unlike before could mean like, I don't know, living in a couple of different buildings. But now that we've blurred out the other buildings and the mast from this yacht and the building on the left, it looks very distinct that we're talking about the iconic tower. And obviously, they don't know exactly where this is located, but it still brings the attention that we're talking about real estate here, and we're talking about this particular tower. So if they're interested in investing in something like that, they potentially would click on that and then land on the landing page. Of course, you can add more text. You could add like a box that actually is more gradient, like black or something like that. But we're going to give you a couple of image templates that you can use, and then you can just kind of like replace the images, and you'll also be able to, okay, so what we did, we added another photo here, and then we wrote invest in iconic excellence. One thing I want to point out is that the font on the ad, it should look very similar to the flyer that you have. So I would take a look at that as a reference and just make sure that the font kind of matches and aligns with it, because you want everything to kind of seem seamless between, them going to the other website or maybe them getting a flyer. You want everything to be consistent. And of course, different brands, they have different style fonts, and you want something that in this particular instance carries more of a luxury feel. Invest in iconic excellence is great. We just put that at the bottom. And again, at this point, we pretty much are on the border of four elements. We have the tower, we have the title, we have this balcony image, and then we have the invest in iconic excellence. So, this is kind of like four elements. So we're actually we're pushing the boundaries on what we think that, you should be showing somebody whenever they scroll past your advertisement on Facebook or Instagram. So this is probably good enough as is. Of course, feel free to try out as many different titles, get inspiration from other websites, look at what other people are doing, look at other ads, and that'll actually kind of bring us into one other thing that you could do in order to kind of up your game a little bit in terms of being competitive in the advertisement space.